And welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. As I mentioned in the previous episode, it is now time for this station to embark on its mission with its crew of 13 brave Kerbals. Well, 13 Kerbals, they're not all quite brave, as you can tell. Anyway, we're going to be doing that, but I've done some thinking about it, and more importantly, I did some math on the part counts. This entire station, as you see it here, represents 245 parts. This would explain why I'm only getting 6 frames per second in the vicinity of it. That's a lot of parts to have all in one ship at one time. And also there's the matter of balance. These two heavy landers, they represent 65 parts each. They also represent a considerable amount of weight because they are fully fueled and crewed. And what I'm proposing to do is going to be basically, I'm going to use the nuclear engines on the newly attached D drive section to send this space station somewhere. But to do so with these heavy landers attached would be a mistake. So I'm going to confirm. Let's see, where is the crew hatch? Okay, in this one we have Lanhat, Mundo, and Jomor. And in this one we have Fredwin, Ferlin, and Milken. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to leave the small landers attached because they only represent 20 parts apiece. But the large landers are undocking. Time they will gradually drift away from the station. Meanwhile, what I'll be doing, actually I'll take control of them and move them away a little ways, and then the station itself will be sent on its way. Let's go ahead and give the name, give the ship its operational name. It is no longer a space station, at least for the time being. Let's give it a name appropriate to its mission. Discovery. Now let's get these landers moved out of the way. Alright, that's this one, so let's go with some thruster action here. Enable RCS and just back away a little ways. That should be more than enough. We'll switch to the other one and do the same thing. Now we can switch back to Discovery. And prepare to send it on its way. And where is Discovery going, you ask? Good question. Discovery is going on a trip to Eve. To start with, at least. Put the maneuver node here and see if I can plot a course going there. missed it. Apparently not. Alright. That would have been helpful. Alright. I have just spent a considerable amount of time looking for a way to get this to happen with an amount of delta V that I can actually afford, and I have not succeeded at all. And then finally I gave up and I looked on the web at the Interactive Illustrated Interplanetary Guide and Calculator, link for which is in the description, and looked up the phase angles for a trip to Eve. And in order to achieve a trip to Eve, I would have to wait until Eve was over here in relation to Kerbin. And while that will happen, by the time that happens, Duna will be in a proper position relative to Kerbin for a trip. And so, I'm going to adjourn to the Space Center and stop by the assembly building, and I'm going to grab a ship because the landers are going each to a different destination. They're each going to need a D drive plugged onto the end of it to get it there. So I'm going to send the D drive out to the launch pad. I am going to put a flight engineer on it. Just simply because I find that useful. For the information it provides. Alright, here we are with Lemford and Sherman to Kerman. Move this out of the way. The main reason for bringing this ship out onto the launch pad is so that I can time warp at a high rate. So, I'm going to time warp until either Eve or Duna is in the proper position for a launch. Whichever one gets there first, we're launching for it. And so, we warp time ahead. And it looks like Duna is going to get into position first, like I thought it would. Duna, as I recall, needs to be about 45 or 44 degrees ahead of Kerbin, while Eve needs to be about 55 degrees or so behind it. So the Duna mission will launch first. Okay. That means Space Center, Tracking Station, Discovery. That means Discovery is the first to launch. Getting slightly better frame rate now that there are 120 some less parts on the ship. Very good. as it happens. Okay, one more orbit around and we'll launch Fortuna right at apoapsis. That will give plenty of time to get the maneuver set up. No, that can't be right. No. Oh. I hate it when this thing disappears and you have to zoom all the way back in to get it back on. Let's try moving the burn time around a little bit. Because that can sometimes help. Duna set as target. How's plane alignment? Minus 0.1. We don't need to do anything with that. And the interface disappeared again. I really hope they change that. Give us a key or something to bring it back. Okay, closest approach. Doggone it, I wish that thing would not disappear like that. Closest approach is down to 98,000 kilometers. Better. Whoops. We have an encounter. Alright, we'll go with that. It may not be the best, but it's a start. Alright, now this beast turned around. And pointed in the direction of the maneuver node. this thing's going to take a while to settle down, so I'll be back when it has. Alright, the ship is in position, and we're just a little over 4 minutes from launch. And I'm going to take a moment, and I'm going to make sure these engines are disabled on the landers, because we don't want those firing. I'm also going to go over here, disable crossfeed, to make sure that the fuel from the landers doesn't get used. Alright, and it looks to me like we're ready to go. Except, of course, let's take 1 minute and close our solar panels. I think having those extended during the boost phase wouldn't be a great idea. Okay, we are 3 minutes from launch. Also going to take a second and I can't disable this one? Are you kidding me? Maybe I need to be not in time warp, huh? Yeah. Shut down that engine. We won't be using that one. Just the nuclear engines. Alright, they're active. Everything else is shut down. Let's warp around. This is going to be a long burn, I know. I'm just going to go ahead and burn at T-0 and plan on at least one mid-course correction. Discovery is on its way. We're estimating a 10.5 minute burn, it looks like. Of course, it's got a lot of space station to move here. So, I'm going to ride out this burn and check back in when it's done, because I don't think you want to sit and watch this for 10 minutes. Alright, we're at an estimated 1 minute 47 seconds burn remaining, and let's check the map, and oh boy. So our burn estimate is no good. Let's cut the engines right now. There will definitely be a mid-course correction, say about here or so, to bring this, actually right at periapsis, to bring this back down and get our encounter back. Because once I disable that maneuver node, that encounter is gone. We'll go ahead and do that. There's our closest approach there. 946,000 kilometers in 43 days. Definitely not good. So, alright, let's go ahead. Pop a maneuver node at periapsis. See if we can't get our encounter back. Lunar periapsis, 42,000 kilometers. A bit high, but we can work with that. Alright. And we still have plenty of fuel to go, because not only is there fuel here, there's also a fair amount of fuel there. So we'll just transfer that over. We still have plenty of Delta V to go, because not only is there that fuel, there is 4 FLT 400s full of fuel as well. so delta V is not a problem. Now it's just a matter of finding our blue target marker and getting lined up. And then warping ahead to the sun periapsis position and do the burn in 7 days, 6 hours, and 50 minutes. I guess we got plenty of time to get lined up. Cancel the rotation that way. Get in position there. Alright. Map view. And let's warp ahead to the burn point. Now I have to move the node or get rid of it and do it all over again because I got careless and overshot with my time warp. $21,000, that's better than it was before. $13,000. $14,000, not so great. If I'm reading that right, yes, 11,000 kilometers. Okay. Go with that. Another mid-course correction, say over here somewhere, to fine-tune that. Alright, now let's go ahead and carefully warp to burn point, stepping down the time acceleration as we get closer to it. Being careful to not use too much time warp to begin with. Time warp is good and handy, but it can easily bite you in the butt if you get careless. Estimated a 2-minute and 19-second burn. That sounds probably reasonable, so I'm going to go with it. Split the difference and burn at T-minus 110. Stop at this point and make sure that we're on the marker dead on. Coming up on the burn at T-minus 110. Actually, let's just zoom out of the map view. Get this blue line to match up with this dashed green line. 320 meters per second at delta V to burn. Burn is looking good. Off the center on that marker a little bit, so I had to recenter it manually. I had to do that several times on the first burn as well. And Discovery will be the first permanent space station around Duna. "30 seconds remaining in the burn. So far it's lining up just right. Throttling back. Oh. Let's get the last of that delta V. That theoretical periapsis is coming in to match with the other one. Good. Okay, at the end of the previous clip, I had paused the game and muted the mic to deal with a distraction, and when I got back to it, I forgot to turn the microphone back on, and so I'm doing the rest of this post-commentary. Basically, what I'm doing here is just confirming that I have a Duna encounter, an acceptable periapsis, and at this point, this ship will be allowed to coast on its way, while in the next episode I'll be switching back to the 2 heavy landers and getting D-drive modules docked with them and prepare them for their journeys. All of that will be coming up soon. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. I'm out of here.